Excited to see how this matchup will unfold. As mentioned, my Caldor, definitely the match of the day. Might be even the match of the weekend here. These two power levels between these two teams should be equal. But as mentioned by ADRD, Method right now has been hitting their stride and should be in the top two. And this is a really great way for them to really showcase that.
And they have their eyes set on the #1, so they want to go up against Dignitas, and this is just a stepping stone for them. They want to see, okay, are we where we want to be at this point, and can we go for Dignitas here? Liquid, on the other hand, this is going to be another one for them. It's a test, of course, also. How much did they improve over the last few weeks? But this should be a great series, and I honestly can't wait. Both of the teams have shown fantastic games in Phase 2, and now they go head-to-head.
Well, let's go to the battleground here and see what exactly is going to be happening for our teams in this best-of-5 series. The bans will be Bractus Holdout and Tomb of the Spider Queen, as Infernal Shrines will be the first battleground that we play on.
Yeah, Liquid with a 3-2 on Infernal Shrines. A Method has only played a single time on the map, actually, and that was a win for them, so a little bit less info available. But yeah, I'm hyped for this one. I want to see what Method does. ADRD coming out with the drafts again, showing maybe a little bit of rain-up play here too with this team. The Medivh, of course, always an obstacle when you go up against Method. You have to think about banning it out. The question remains, is Liquid going to do that? Are they going to change things up a little bit when it comes to bans? And especially with the 3 bans coming in, I feel like the team that could throw one of these surprises into the mix is Method, no doubt about it.
Yeah, they certainly will. I mean, last week we finally got to see more of that Medivh from them, which was great to see, showing that coordination that we've known from them in the past. So definitely some Hail Marys can come out. I mean, it is ADRD, the mad scientist. He did mention, actually in an interview, that the new timers have actually thrown him off a little bit. His brain still adjusting to what exactly he wants to pull off in drafts, but he's getting there.
I mean, I can absolutely understand that. It's just something where you have to adjust the way that you think about the draft and you think about the bans a little bit more in advance and can't really just go through everything in the moment. But yeah, I have no doubts that he will adjust to that quite easily once that we had a few weeks of play with it.
Certainly. Kane banned out. One of the strongest supports we have in the game right now, taking over Malfurion, who was popular at the beginning of the phase here.
And Team Liquid is 7-3 with Deckard Kane, so that makes a lot of sense to ban him out here. Nurok has also in interviews talked about how he feels the hero has a huge impact and he really enjoys playing Deckard Kane. So Method taking the old man off the board right away.
He loves that hero. Any chance that you get to talk about Deckard Kane with Nurok, please do so, because his passion for that hero will gush out. Pretty exciting to see how pumped he is to play him.
Muradin ban.
Yeah.
Interesting choice considering that Bad Bunny oftentimes plays the hero for them. Now, it's not the only frontliner that they love to run, but that remains the question, why Muradin? Do they want to play again a backliner that is susceptible to dive, where they need to make sure that Muradin is not part of the composition to lock him down? Or what's the thought process here?
Maybe just want to pick up a Phoenix early here. They go straight into Diablo, taking the other tank that we normally see.
Now, Diablo on this map is, of course, extremely powerful, but I'm still wondering now about the backline. If we're going to see the Reyna pick on their end, Phoenix is another one, as you pointed out. If you already plan with your first pick to head into Diablo and then you're worried about someone engaging into the backline and disrupting it and getting the CC strain started, then Muradin would make sense here. So I feel it's really about the backline damage now that they're going to choose.
I mean, the beauty of that option is even if your opponent takes Reyna or Phoenix, you get the other one, right? And both are just great in that backline. Urel and Alex Straza come out for Team Liquid. Alex continues to get more popular in this battleground, but staying away from the damages here, and we get the Urel for the top side.
I mean, Alex Straza has been chosen 10 times in Europe now, and she's sitting at 6 wins and 4 losses. Liquid themselves have only played twice with her. 50% win rate for them.
And you guys at home actually asked for us to bring back Goat Facts, so we did on the bottom side. Every time Urel is picked up, goat milk is actually higher in calcium, vitamin, and niacin than cow milk. So there you go.
Also, a little bit of a bonus fact here. Khazra camps on the map are actually goats.
Wow. Just goats everywhere.
Yeah.
Heroes of the goats.
Especially whoever designed Diablo 3 and Diablo in general had some affinity with goats. There's a lot of goats in Diablo.
I mean, not to dive too deep into it, but aren't like sacrifices a thing when it comes to goats and some like poor magic? I'm trying to figure out how to get into this black magic.
Believe me, there's a lot of goats.
Yeah, I don't want to like go too far and like down this dark path, but that might be why, you know?
Yeah.
Might be a thing. It's supposed to be dark, a little gothic. All right, Blaze banned out. So, Sergeant Hammer, what do you think about the Raynor and Genji getting picked up? A lot of damage from the back line, but Genji to chase down targets and destroy them afterwards?
I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really shock me too much. We already talked about what the Murden ban indicates when we saw it, and now with Raynor being picked up, it makes perfect sense. Every team that went up against Raynor was trying to dive him and take him out early. So now that Murden's banned out, they also take some of that threat away. Genji for ADRD makes also a lot of sense here. But I love that Team Liquid is actually responding with an Avatar composition here. Especially with the symbiote on Urel and Garrosh, it's going to be extremely annoying.
Yeah.
And also with the double Urel, for example, or even double Garrosh, you can have so much space control on the Shrine. It's definitely going to make up for a very interesting game here between the two.
I mean, how do you kill them? I mean, we're looking for damage later on here for Team Liquid, but right now they have a very sturdy composition. Control those Shrine phases. Rhaegar and Leoric will come out to help out with maybe controlling that front line a little bit. Leo also can match Urel when it comes to wave clear.
What's the damage going to be like for them?
I was thinking Cassia for a second here, but I'm worried against Genji.
Yeah, I mean, you have Abathur still that can help you out, so...
Tychus?
The Abathur factor changes a lot in the setup. If you want to go through Diablo, though, you need something. They go for Cassia. So we're going to see that poke build.
No? With hats?
For a second, I was even considering Greymane. I mean, he has fallen off severely. But with Abathur in the composition, you could have made an argument for him here. Try to get the double Greymane, jump onto the front. I quite enjoy what Method has, though.
Yeah. The Rhaegar and Leoric coming in there to really bring it all together. Raynor should be able to dish out the damage. It's just more of can they win the Shrine phase. If they can find a kill, yeah, they will. What a draft to start our day on for both teams.
That front line of Liquid is absolutely terrifying with Abathur in the mix. That makes it really tricky. You can also try and flip Diablo, of course. You're going to have to try and move out here. But Raynor is more or less... I mean, you have Urel to engage into the backline. And
you have Valkyrie, too.
Valkyrie is a good point. I just remember the last game where we saw Valkyrie against Raynor, and it was really well played on the Raynor part where you can just sidestep it if you really pay attention to it. There's definitely tools that Liquid has. It comes down to personal play. How good is your execution there? But if they can keep Raynor safe and shield him, then he should be able to strike that front line easily.
That he should be able to. Let's go ahead and go into game number 1. Infernal Shrines will be the battleground. Team Liquid taking on Method.
And we have them starting to the left side with Nurok on Alex Straza for Team Liquid. Arcana currently on Cassia. Eternal on the other hand with Urel Sportbilio, of course, on Garrosh. And Hazops on Abathur.
On the right side, in the red. Bad Benny on Diablo. Nick to play Raynor. ADRD on Genji. Ethereal on Leoric. And Curson will be your Rhaegar player for this morning.
And of course with Cassia we're going straight into the Lightning Fury build, so already Arcana will attempt from the get-go to work on his stacks. Talents on level 1 don't come really as too much of a surprise here. The Carapace build for Hazorb, so it's more or less a pseudo-support that they have with him now on top of Alex Straza, being played by Nurok here. But yeah, game number 1, we've been waiting for this series for quite some time, and now we are finally going to find out who's going to take that number 2 spot in Europe before we're heading towards the Western Clash.
I'm kind of interested to see how exactly Method intends to put the pressure on the early game against an Abler competition. Normally you want to try and find some kills or be able to break down some infrastructure a little bit. So we'll see to be able to pull that off. For now, Team Liquid begins to group up, and it's mostly Sportbilly if they want to really set up any type of kills if they do come in for Team Liquid.
And in the past, Sportbilly has always been a topic when he was on Garrosh. He's one of those players that really loves to play the hero, and he has a huge impact with him too. So the question still remains, how is Method going to deal with that? If he gets close enough to Raynor or even Diablo, then he can put the two of them in a lot of trouble. So let's see how Method is going to deal with that in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, definitely in the early game, Diablo will be staying wary of any turrets that are nearby, making sure not to get tossed in. It's one of the ways that Team Liquid can get net an early kill against him. But around the Shrine phase, Diablo should take over a little bit, especially as it gets those souls stacked up. Spoiler, he could coming in for a bit of an aggressive play, but doesn't get anything. Tosses an opponent and gets a nice little stack on his level 1.
I mean, the ace in the hole on Raynor, played by Nick here, is also going to come online once that Leoric is going to join the fights and starts just swinging and slowing everyone down. And that's another tool where Rhaegar comes into play, of course, too. On level 1, we already have him with a Colossal Totem, and that alone just helps you to get that extra damage with Raynor out.
Curson in particular always enjoys at level 1. He seems to pick it up more so than other Rhaegars. Enjoys it slow for his team. Allows for them to find those kills. Now, a bit of a fight here on the Merc camps to the bottom. As Team Liquid is already nice and set up. Shouldn't be a spot that Method actually moves in for an engage with an Abathur hat setting up, and Garrosh as well to control the space.
Yeah, both of the teams in the early game here are more so interested in the macro aspect of the game instead of going straight into brawls. That's going to change once that we have the first shrine set up here. Little 4 talents for both, with the Fight or Flight again taken for Jimmy. Neil Peasants, of course, for Leoric. And that's really where the wave play kicks in. This is really the moment when you can push these lanes out so much faster.
The more I look at this, the more I just really feel like Team Liquid's going to be able to win that first shrine. As long as they're there right away, Yrel just forever buying time. With Abathur has constantly being worked in, they can kite backwards. And then the moment they have to make a power play, Dragon Queen comes out.
I mean, one of the reasons why we don't see too many brawls in the early game here initiated by Method is also they do not want to give Cassia the early on stacks before the shrine even spawns.
True.
Currently Arcana is sitting on 6, and he will, of course, with the shrine fights, complete that pretty quickly, or at least he should be able to do that. But right now, there's no real reason for Method to heavily engage into a brawly setup just to give him those stacks early on and help him to a very early power spike.
Option for Method here is just to push it out of the lanes, and that seems to be the one they're going for, as they have Leoric clearing that top lane with that Neil Peasants. He should be able to deal with that camp quickly. The rest of Method put some damage on the turrets here in the middle, with Sport Billy actually coming around for a bit of a flank, though. Got to be careful, as there's a bit of a combo coming out into a Groundbreaker.
Method just lets it go. They're not even going for the shrine. They're just absolutely happy to give it up with Garrosh, Yrel, and also, of course, the Dragon Queen available through Alexstrasza. So they're just saying, guys, why would we fight this? And for Arcana, that's actually annoying, because he finally gets another Lightning Fury in, but he's only sitting at 7 stacks. So Method is playing around their opponent, simply acknowledging that the early shrine phase is going to be a bit tough for them to win, and make it difficult for Liquid to stack the damage on Cassia.
The thing about this, though, is that if you don't get that Dragon Queen popped up, Team Liquid has the ability to elect to go into a team fight and Dragon Queen on the push with the Punisher. So typically you want to try and at least force that fight a little bit just to make sure that cooldown is used.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point, because we've seen that in the past as well. It's definitely one of the things that you might have a bit of a problem with. Nurok still has the Dragon Queen ready, and that can help you to get more damage out of the Punisher than you should. The saving grace is it's a frozen Punisher, so I think that helps a lot. If that was an arcane Punisher, we were talking a very different game.
Oh, but the froze or the ice actually comes in here and is able to freeze Bad Benny for a second, as Ethernal slows him down just enough to get locked down. But Ethernal taking damage on that front line, gets slammed into a wall. Some heals come out just in time, especially with the help of Abathur, as they turn around and focus down Curson.
Yeah, Curson falls to Abathur. Close call, but it works out, and here comes the Punisher, jumps in again. Arcana immediately attempting to follow up with additional damage, but now sitting at 14 stacks, so really using that little skirmish down here to get quite a lot of value. Now Leoric was missing the entire time, but here comes another tosser as Bad Benny is put in a bit of an awkward spot here, and Benny is about to fall. Double kill for Liquid, as they take nearly an entire level lead thanks to the structures that they just destroyed.
Team Liquid made a statement with that push, taking down the 4, opening the map, grabbing an experience lead as well. They are here to fight against Method, as they are already setting up for another night camp, and they're moving towards that 10, which is where they become incredibly strong as well. You get that level 10 coming in, suddenly you have maybe a double Garrosh, double Yrel available.
That was really a super important move for them. And now they're even providing the vision on the other side of that bit of debris so that the Khazra camp can attack the fountain directly. And that takes another big option away from their opponent. And the next shrine is actually spawning in the mid lane. So for Method, this is definitely a tough start into game number 1. Liquid opening things up with a bang.
Turret about to go down here. Keeps getting sieged on up. Method, on the other hand, are working for their level 10, as that full level lead about to hit for Team Liquid will give them those Soroka abilities. York actually thinking about maybe coming here on the side, but nothing really opens up as an opportunity. Raynor and Rhaegar did clear out that bottom lane, so they're getting the experience themselves. So Method should just relax here. May lose another turret, but should be able to hold their fort.
But Abathur is already being a pain here. He pushed out the bot lane quite easily, and now with a 10, they're moving into the middle and take down the 4-2. We don't even see, by the way, Valkyrie. Instead, we see the Ball of Lightning. Ethernal in trouble. Abathur should be there soon. Aethero missing the Drain Hope here on him, and they can focus their attention now back into the mid lane. Have to be careful, though, because Method is closing in on their own heroic abilities.
Yes, they have about a quarter left of experience until they hit that 10. Should be able to get in the bottom lane. Genji's already on top of that. And Method will hold their fort. It did take a lot of damage, though. With that middle shrine, spawning there with the Punisher coming in. Team Liquid should make easy work of that if they're
Yeah.
able to win it. So now suddenly Method's in a spot where they have to decide if they want to make that play.
So this is really time to shine now. We have Leoric with the Entomb, Hyperion, and Apocalypse. So they're going to try and lock someone down with the Entomb, following it up with the Apocalypse, and then just Hyperion damage all day, every day. Now the one thing that we've seen now a few times is Bloodlust. Comes in occasionally, and Rhaegar is holding his level 10, so there's still an option that with Reyna they're going to try and get that auto attack damage out.
Level 10. Instead of Valkyrie, we're getting Ball Lightning coming out instead.
You never listen to me.
I never do listen to you.
It makes me so sad.
You mentioned it,
We
and
really
I
need to work
thought
on
about
our
it a little bit.
communication. Maybe we have to get therapy.
Don't even. Don't. Sorry, anywho.
I feel you need to appreciate me a little bit more. I want couples.
That's fair. All right, well, you pay for it. Deal.
All right, let's forget about that idea.
Yeah, it's a horrible idea.
Or Blizzard, please.
Shrine spawns now in the middle here. As we'll have Method step up. So they are looking to contest here. Now with Diablo having some souls available, he's actually 4 away from having the full 100. He is quite tanky.
Yeah, here's the Dragon Queen. Bloodlust is also in play. And again, the move as Hazops goes in. The double Cassia with a damage output here, trying to open up these opportunities. And Hazops is zoning them completely. Great play with the copy here. Finally goes down, and this is the time when Method says, okay, boys, let's go.
They step up. Clone destroy. Method goes in. There goes the Apox. Try to lock down Sport Billy. Sport Billy with the life drain is not going to be able to fall there, as we also have the life bender coming out. He is able to live just fine as Team Liquid keeps him nice and healthy. 34-17 in terms of minions, and Team Liquid easily takes the shrine.
Yeah, really well done by them. And also Thero not able to lock someone down with the Entomb. Now he zoned them out to an extent that there was just no chance for them to get a kill. And that's really what you want to do when you spec into a Bloodlust comp. You want to get that kill that Method just couldn't find in this setup. And now they're in trouble again, because the second fort falls, and that push could easily end with the keep even being taken down, depending on how much they can now get with the second Punisher. They don't have a lot of cooldowns on heroics, and it should be bursted down quickly enough, but opening up the wall alone is already a good step into the right direction.
Throw us up to buy a little bit of time here. Making sure nobody comes in for the follow-up, and that will be a defense there for Method, but with the wall being opened up, definitely a keep it being grabbed later on. 13-12, Team Liquid in a commanding lead right now. And even setting up a gank here on Leoric. Thero will be able to rotate on up, but Team Liquid, they're not stopping the pressure.
Now, Arcana is sitting at 21 stacks, so he's really having a tough time completing that process. But it's, of course, absolutely understandable considering how Method is trying to avoid useless fights, just simply because they acknowledge that fact. An attempt at the top to maybe lock someone down long enough so that they can get value out of a rotation, but that's not quite happening. Liquid is still ahead, and they have 13, but Method can still turn that around. They have been falling behind throughout the entire game, but let's not kid ourselves. If they get one good Bloodlust engage,
Yeah.
that can flip.
If Garrosh is to overstep, doesn't get the flip, speaking of flips, and Raynor is able to punish him with that Bloodlust and knocking down that damage, bringing the penetrating round in for a kill, Team Liquid could crumble quickly. Method, working on the 13 for now. Genji continuing to build in the talents here. I want to see what we're going to get for level 13 for him. Same time, one of your favorites for Leoric, already online as well.
Yeah, so we get again Ominous Ray, standard here. Thunder God's Vigor, of course, for Arcana, also super important. The cooldown reduction just really helps you to dish out the damage and even stack, since he hasn't completed it yet. So that's another one that's going to be incredibly important for them. Giddy Up, on the other hand, for Reyna. So it's going to be easier for Reyna to really get those auto attack in and also escape from these situations. With Bloodlust together, he should really be able to chunk down targets. And I mean, if you look at the damage output, Reyna right now isn't doing too bad. He's doing 40,000 damage so far, which is the top damage for his team. But we have Hazops with Abathur already sitting at 20k.
Hang on, that's 14k, not 40,000.
Did I say 40?
You said 40,000. I'm like, oh my god, he's destroying.
I meant 14.
14k.
My bad.
Oh, but yes, Giddy Up will make it easier for him to force those fights.
Yeah, but Abathur again, just like destroying. That spike burst is just so good. And Hazo did a fantastic job with the Cassia copy to get damage in and zone everyone out. That choke point really worked well for them. It was actually one of the main things why they were able to win the second Punisher, because Hazops with that AoE damage through Cassia could control the choke point so easily.
And don't forget, when 16 hits too, Abathur with Garrosh, that speed boost coming in from the Carapace.
Yeah.
That will allow him to force fights how he wants to, but also disengage as well. So Team Liquid, they're scaling. That is for sure as we head to 16. In fact, Cassia, back in the day when she started this build, typically around 13 and 16 when you got that Pierce available and that cooldown reduction, that's when you would see that quest get finished quickly. So Arcader, although he hasn't finished the quest, will have options to finish that later.
Method is hating Abathur right now, I can tell you that much. We have Hazorbs just pushing out the bot lane the entire time, keeping Leoric there for such a long period of time. And that experience that Liquid already has is just getting bigger. The Symbiote is again active at the bot lane, and that allows Liquid to push this out even faster. There's the 16 now for them. And that's Method in an awkward spot. You engage into the talent advantage. Do you just sit there and take it that you're going to lose another Punisher? Especially considering that's an Arcane Punisher this time.
And you also have a Dragon on the opposing team, so the more of a lead they get, the better position they are. They're going to fight at 15 to 16. And Tim comes out, locked down on Sport Billy. Immediately pops the Indomitable, make sure he doesn't get blown up, and also can make sure not to get locked down. Able to get out his own heal and also do his own knock-up. And Team Liquid stops the attempt from Method.
And who do you kill there? Do you actually go for Billy and try to take down Garrosh with the Dragon Queen there to create space and also Urel? Unlikely. So now Method is again in a spot where they're just backing off. They're just realizing, boys, it ain't happening. Let's move into the middle, get some pressure going, and make sure that we get the 16 for the defense and play around that.
That is the most important part, hitting level 16 here. So they'll be able to get 16. They even put a little bit of damage on that fort. Abathur will be able to slow that down, but that fort in the top right is already cleaned up. But they got to back up soon. If not, this Punisher is already on its way to keep it. If they don't bait it to the middle,
yeah,
it's going to be deadly.
That was definitely a good choice also by Liquid. Not trying to react and defend the mid lane, but instead just simply trade up at the top. Makes it easier for the Punisher to approach the keep now too. And things are definitely starting to become a bit dicey for Method. Already they're baiting it over and trying to see if they can burn it down. At least to 50% health, but here comes Hazorbs with a copy again. The double Cassia, Hyperion immediately together with Bloodlust to zone them out, burn down the Punisher and defend the keep.
I mean, the good news about that Bloodlust is they shrugged that Immortal quickly. Got through the wall, Keep took a little bit of damage. Ethereal chasing and slowing down the clone, but again, that's a clone. Hazorbs is content with losing that there. Ethereal trying to chase with the Wraith Walk, but no opportunity presents itself.
It was a great defense. They didn't use the Entomb because they just could not lock anyone down, and of course you don't want to use it for the Abathur clone here. But committing to Hyperion and Bloodlust helped them to burst down the Punisher very quickly and then push Liquid back. That's the problem that you have with Liquid right now. I mean, there's like two sides to it. You can easily disengage from a Hyperion and Bloodlust, and if you manage to do that, then it's two cooldowns that get burned and that don't give you a lot of value. If you can force an opponent to fight in that, on the other hand, then you can really get a lot of damage in. Or you can defend by making sure that you zone them out. So from Method's perspective, they could be in a worse spot, but that level disadvantage is still a problem.
And it is. Team Liquid will keep playing throughout this match, focusing on Punishers. Not wanting to take a team fight unless they're around those shrines. They want to make sure they can force Method into a weird situation. Method continues to hold on. The question is, how long can they hold on? Can they really deal with the onslaught of one more Punisher, two more Punishers, right?
Also, the problem is that Arcana is about to finish his quest.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just really powerful when you complete it with Cassia. The poke damage is already super annoying, but getting that second charge in is just absolutely powerful for the Lightning Fury. You already have the damage increase after your 20 stacks, and now that we're heading into 40, he can just poke in the entire time. Also, especially since he has the cooldown reduction and the Pierce now on 13-16. So he's just going to poke away 6 days to Sunday. It's going to be fantastic for Liquid as long as they keep him safe.
The good news, Earthcraft Totem coming online for Rhaegar should give them the ability to force the fights if they want to, and proc that level 1 that you were talking about earlier from Raynor. So they can really destroy a target if they were to overstep. Watching out for that, we'll see if Method is able to pull that off. For now, Team Liquid is working towards level 20. That full level lead really paying off for them now.
They're going to try and get at least a keep once they have 20. So it's all... Their attempt is to center it around the next shrine, which is something that is really realistic for them, and then try to use that Punisher to push the keep and ideally even go core if they can get a kill or two. And for Method, this is really going to be one of those moments that's going to like, okay, how is this going to run? Because if they actually defend, then they would be on 20 versus 20. So that would be eye-level fights at least. But right now, Liquid is definitely running the show here. But Method is doing their best to close the experience gap. And with them taking down a few structures, at least here in the middle, this is starting to happen.
Someone's kind of hurting right now. Devastating Charge getting picked up level 13. Bad Bunny yet to get a single stack on that talent. Wanting to increase the damage on targets that gets into a wall. So part of this not fighting for Method also hurting a little bit for Team Liquid. as Method is unable to get their own stacks at the same time. And that level 1 quest did finish up for Cassia, as you were talking about earlier. But Team Liquid about to hit level 20 right when a shrine activates, and they are so happy about that.
Yeah, Abathur is just going to take the experience at the top lane super easily, and now they're starting to push in here, already claiming a few of their stacks, attempting to get them. Here's the 20 as they're trying to go in here. Eternal misses the heal from Alexstrasza, but they're absolutely dominating the space here right now. Ethereal looking for an opportunity here, but they just don't find it, and I'm not quite sure if Method even engages into it. There's the Entomb though, Apocalypse, Hyperion, they're trying to go for the kills. Can they get it? Nuruk is low, but keeps himself alive just barely. Billy also losing HP. Not the same is true for Leoric as he tries to go in to reduce the damage.
Didn't pay off, but an incredible flank there from Bad Benny to get on top of Nurok. Nurok able to survive thanks to that life bender being available. Hasuav's the clone is about to fall as well, with the double Cassia still being annoying. 23-19 for Team Liquid in terms of control for the Shrine, so they are ahead here. Method is starting to kite backwards already, while Ethereal is dealing with Arcaner, but Team Liquid has survived the onslaught that came from Method, and they turn around and grab the Shrine.
And Hazops did some insane damage again with the Cassia clone, really controlling these choke points. And we're coming back to the same problem. How does Method get kills? It's so tricky for them here. And they burned all the cooldowns. That means that this push is going to be super strong. There is no Hyperion. There is no Bloodlust. So this time you can't use the tools to make sure that the Punisher push is not going to be successful. Liquid is going to go in with those Storm Talents. And I mean, they want the keep now. And they want the core. If they can get a kill, that would be all they need to end this first game.
It's for Billy. Steps forward. Tomb comes out. Leoric will get focused down after a taunt and get completely destroyed there. Team Liquid continues to chase forward. The ball lightning comes out too, puts damage on top of Nick and Bad Benny. This keep is done, and this Punisher, it's healthy.
Yeah, easy keep for them, and now of course they want to go for the core. Leoric is down for another 40 seconds. This is the moment when you can already take the lead in the series, and Liquid is determined to do exactly that. Nick gets low, and he goes down too. Another hero dead. The Apocalypse attempt to turn it around, but Benny is dropping in HP, and so is Curson. Team Liquid on their way to victory.
Poor Billy keeping up with the throws here, tossing people left and right. 3 down from Method. One's about to spawn with the core. It's down to 20%. It's down to 10. Team Liquid comes out in game number 1, firing as they get their first win here in this best-of-5 series.
Really well done here, and just the draft making it nearly impossible for Method to get any kills. So many tools there. Dragon Queen just creating the space. You have Garrosh in the same moment. You Rel, the two of them working together so nicely. And on top of that, Abathur, and even more Abathur.
Being a little behind also in terms of talents, really hurting for Method. Unable to find those fights open. Seriously, that flank by Bad Benny in the bottom was a great flank.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the power spike available to secure that kill. The life bender coming in, those level 20 talents being important. Beautiful cleanup there. I mean, look at the kills here. It was 5-0 between our teams. It really was a game about macro.
Exactly. There was just no way to get any kills against Team Liquid for Method. They were looking for them and you couldn't find them. And once you burned those cooldowns in the last fight, you knew that your defense would be nearly impossible. Because if you still have, like if they could have, for example, made the choice to give the punish up and say, okay, boys, we don't have 20.
Yeah.
Give them the Punisher, don't even start that fight, and then we use Hyperion and the Bloodlust again to make sure that we defend somehow, like they did at the top lane. But this time they made a different choice. They said, okay, now or never, let's take that fight. Doesn't work out, you don't have the cooldowns, and all of a sudden it's just, just going down. You lose one hero, second one falls shortly after, and that's game.
Just falls flat there. Now, out of curiosity, do we think going into game number 2 that Method will be willing to give up Abathur again, as him getting to the draft is typically something that we don't see, especially with Team Liquid willing to run him?
I mean, map is really, it's dependent on the map, I would say, but there's definitely a chance that Abathur is going to get targeted a bit more. Liquid has shown great macro game, not only with Abathur, but also other heroes, but it's weird, because even with a new ban coming in, there's so many possibilities. You still have Tracer around, you have Genji, you have Abathur that you want to ban out, and there's just a bit too much. Medivh is another hero that you kind of have to target if you're going up against ADRD.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tricky. I don't think you can just flat out say, okay, Abathur ban no matter what. But yeah, depending on the map, there's a good chance that we're not going to see a lot of slugs.
Let's go to Battleground at number 2 here and see if we'll get any more slug action. Something to also consider too is that we can also get Medivh from Team Liquid. We've seen in the past from Hasuavs. He's willing to play the Medivhs too. As we're going to Volskaya Foundry. Method will be having first pick.
All right, Volskaya, again for Liquid, a great map. 4 times they picked it. They played 5 times on the map. 3-2 for them. Method has an 0-2. So for Method, not the best map so far. Liquid, it's a staple, but yeah, Liquid is trying to play this to their comfort zones.
Another map that we might see more Alex Straza on. Team Liquid has shown it in the past. They do prefer to have Decker K1 available, but it seems like Method has already focused on that, as we saw the ban in game at #1. Also, a hero that you might see pop up here is Thrall, also Chromie. These are heroes that are really good on Volskaya Foundry when it comes to controls and being able to have that poke. Typically, if you could have someone on your team that has poke on the control points that hits pretty heavily, it's a good pickup in your draft. Of course, you want to be able to force engage at some point by having a strong main tank, but that's something that you should really focus on when it comes to this battleground.
Yeah, let's not lie to the audience here. Chromie is not a good pick right now in HGC no matter.
Well, she does have a pretty bad win rate, but still something that you can look at. It might start to fall off eventually, but...
So the way you do it, you look at it, it's like, and you go in something else.
But what happened to always ban Chromie, Caldor? What does it mean now?
But yeah, I don't know. She's really suffering. I mean, she's sitting at 14 games and she won out of those only 4.
We can always change it to always bully Chromie.
Yeah.
That's how she's losing. She's getting bullied. Murden, Maevs.
Method hasn't played her yet, though, so Method might be the team that just shows people the way. Also, the ABCs of Heroes of the Storm always ban Chromie still holds true because it's true for Hero League.
Well, there you go.
It's not as coordinated as HGC. Who would have thought? So
good old Hero League.
It's a little bit more difficult to control her.
All right, first ban coming in. Method, what are you going to do to adjust here? They say, hey, what's up, Sport Billy? We're done with you. Garrosh, banned out.
Garrosh is also great on the map, so makes a bit more sense for them. But yeah, let's see. Liquid. Are we going to see Medivh banned out again? Maybe on the second. Genji Tracer are the go-tos normally what we're seeing here, so.
Team Liquid thinking about it here too. Do they want to give up the Medivh? It was showcased last week for Method. Tassadar banned out. A typical one if you're trying to dodge out on those double support compositions, those hyper carries.
I mean, most of the players really, you don't really only target ADRD, but it's just heroes where he can have an impact that change the way that your opponent can play. Medivh is a good example. Tassadar with a double support setup, another one. We've seen a lot of Genjis banned out against him. And very similar pattern again from Method. Taking Deckard out of the equation, so once more Nurok has to deviate away from his most successful hero. 7 wins, 3 losses for Nurok on Deckard. And is this going to be the ban on Medivh? Yes, indeed, it's going to be that.
Tracer up though.
Both pseudo supports. Genji up too, still.
Yeah. What am I to decide here? Typically, I enjoy seeing that main tank picked up here on the early side. Murden being up and available. Diablo on this battle going to be good too. But with Tracer and Genji, that does shift around priority, obviously.
Yeah, especially when you're having Tracer available, then of course the question becomes right away, do we want to play that with another pseudo support here? Is it a hero that we're only comfortable with if we have the double support set up? But right now, Murden is the weapon of choice.
Tracer Malf is still a great combo too, to move in for your 1-2. You do give up your Rel, which has been a priority for both these teams in the first few selections. And if you give Method Murden and your Rel, that is troublesome, so you may have to consider picking that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
No, nothing.
Genji Malfurion. 1-2.
I'm looking at tweets and I'm looking at Twitter names that you can easily misrepresent if you just switch the words a little bit.
That's what you're smiling about.
Dude, there were a couple of funny ones. The last one was...
You talk about me listening to you, and I'm over here talking about the draft, and you're like, oh,
but it's
talking
funny.
about
I listened to you.
What'd I say?
Just now?
Earlier. Before Genji and Malfurion were picked.
Before Genji and Malfurion were picked? Well, you were talking about Tracer and how you can find the synergy with her.
That's not what I said at all. Goats are herbivores that spend most of their day grazing. Another goat fact coming in.
Was worth a try. Abathar is in.
And Urel.
So
or
basically the same setup that we had in the last game, just this time for Method. Well, not the same setup, but the same interesting thought process where you just have the super beefy front line, you have the macro respect for Abathar, and you can keep them alive.
That's right. That is a hard composition to deal with. Karazim banned out. What are you scared of on the back line that you ban out Karazim?
I mean, again, Phoenix and Reyna.
Yeah.
Also, it's not only a Karazim ban. Let's just put that in perspective for a second. every time you have an Abathur on the other side, you are worried immediately about the Kerosene being picked.
True.
He can chase you down no matter where you are, and then with the Abathur head together, you get first of all more value out of Kerosene's trade, and second of all, you get a lot more damage in, as Abathur can also help out. So I think that's just because of, first of all, because I expect either Phoenix or Reyna to be picked for the backline, or someone else that is very susceptible to dive, and then you have Abathur.
What about Hammer?
Liquid has played a lot of Hammer here.
Yeah. Giant Killer is helpful against Murden, which you get a level 16 on Sergeant Hammer.
They have played Hammer 3 times, but it is Jimmy.
Diablo and Jimmy. All right, Method, what's going to be your backline to siege away on your opponents?
They could still play Hammer too.
Yeah, they could.
It's also one of those games, again, you can also think about, okay, can we maybe get away with Abathur solo support? Bit unlikely, but considering that you already have sustain on Urel and sustain on Muradin, you can still make that argument very well. But they go to Stukov. Haven't seen that boy in a long time. Happy to have him back here.
So they want to delete one target.
Yeah.
With a Stormbolt, probably perfect Storm build, Skullcracker, or not Skullcracker, give them the axe, Abathur hat, and blow them up with the Riptire. But if they don't get that kill, do they have enough damage here to win team fights?
With the poke that they have, definitely. I mean, they have a lot of the displacement here, especially through the Junkrat mines. Not only about the jump in, but they have, I think the damage output on Abathur together with Muradin too, it can be pretty powerful here.
I'm just worried about Junkrat with Genji jumping on him in the back line. You always forget when you're so mobile what could be coming your way.
Yeah, but again, if your Abathur player pays attention, they can very, very, very quickly turn against Genji. So, but I mean, the Liquid has a good draft here too. I'm not trying to say that the draft of Method is absolutely going to wreck this, but the front line breaking through that is going to be difficult for them. But they have a little bit more pressure than I think we saw from Method in the last game, just simply because you have Thrall now in the mix. You have next to that also, of course, Jimmy and Genji. So there's a lot of tools they have to lock someone down.
I actually really enjoy Team Liquid's draft a little bit more here. I think Method's is a little bit harder to pull off. Sure, you have the ability to get those picks, but in terms of just straight up brute force, Team Liquid really has a good setup, especially around a fight around the control point.
Yeah, I like it too. And for me, it's really interesting since I came in here and really expected Method to be the team that is, first of all, the favorite, and second of all, the team where I expected the more crisp and clean drafts to happen. And right now, the execution and the drafts look a little bit better for Team Liquid.
Well, let's go to game 2 here. Team Liquid on the left, Eternal playing Thrall, Sport Billy on Diablo, Nurok on Malfurion, Arcaner on Genji, and Hasuabs to play Raynor.
Towards the right side of the map, Method, down one game in the series, is starting things up with ADRD on, in this case, Abathur. Nick is the one who plays Junkrat. That confused me for a second. Thero then finds himself on Urel. We have Kurslan Stukov, and of course our frontliner here, Bad Benny, playing Muradin. Yeah, I'm so used to seeing Junkrat played by ADRD that for a moment I really just simply forgot that Abathur is in that game too, and of course that immediately pushes ADRD over to the specialist role, whereas Nick takes Junkrat under his wings.
I'm actually excited to see Nick play Junkrat. I've been playing a lot more Junkrat recently. It's actually a lot of fun to play. Very conniving, setting up traps, trying to displace your opponent, but also attempting to control mercenary camps, being able to drop down your mine.
You just like him because the two of you have the same silly laugh.
What? That's not true at all. His laugh is like
you have
evil.
You have two different ones. You have your evil laugh, and then you have the goofy laugh.
What's my evil laugh sound like?
I can't pull that off.
I want to hear it.
Because I'm such a nice person, I'm incapable of copying that sound.
It's better than your sticker.
my what?
That's your laugh.
It's not. That sounds like a panting dog. That's not me.
That's when you make a joke, but you're not quite ready to fully commit to it. That's you, man.
Jokes are funny.
Ooh, this might be a decent invade here for Method. Kursan's a little bit low. He needs to be careful because Sport Boy's coming in from behind. Kursan, need to be careful. Sport Boy's coming in. Do they get the
got the item.
Wow, they got it.
That was a great invade. I must have loving that. Yeah.
Dude, no, I thought...
What was that, you're German?
I thought it... Domino or Dominito, whatever it is.
Deine Mutter.
Your mom. I'll say it in English.
Domino.
Yeah, I really thought that Diablo was going to be on top of Kirsten, but just barely out of range, it looked like.
I mean, the problem is just simply you have so much displacement of Method with Urel alone that she just controls the point.
Oh my god.
Again.
They can do it again? They
Yeah.
grab it, and they take the support camp.
Method is just a bunch of thieves right now. They're letting Liquid do all the work, and then they move in and take it away.
They've been training this week. They went to ninja training, screw horse camp,
Yeah,
ninja camp.
they have 3 items now. That is a disaster for Liquid. 3-0 in items. 2 turrets and the biotic emitter. And a level lead. Liquid just got completely wrecked.
Yeah. Great punishing of the Merc camps. And also the great thing about those Merc camps, too, is they give you experience when you steal them away, too. They give you a big chunk of experience.
I mean, I have seriously seen teams and scrims in such a situation say, okay, go next.
Yeah.
That is actually terrifying how far ahead Method is right now. It's honestly terrifying. Liquid should have absolutely no shot of winning that Protector. If they can pull it off somehow, I would be insanely impressed.
If Diablo had more souls, he's only sitting at 30 right now. They can make it work. But they're going to hold on now.
They don't have the Abathur 10 yet, so there's no extra hit point bar. That's an important distinction here. But this is in a situation where you have a huge problem because your opponent stole every single item away from you.
Even if Team Liquid decided they wanted to force the issue right now, Method can just back up and soak level 7. Because they already have 20% on here. Save their items for that fight when they do have 7.
Yeah, staying on the spot as long as they can. Here comes Abathur with a symbiote again. Urel moving in. They're going for Billy. He's already low. They're still holding on to the point. Genji is trying at the top lane his best, but so far they didn't even have to commit to a single turret.
60% for Method, and it keeps on climbing. 7 close for both of our teams, actually. Half a level for Team Liquid, but a quarter of a level for Method.
Yeah, Benny still trying to get the Stormbolt stacks in. Also Junkrat, of course, controlling a huge part of that space thanks to his traps and mines. So right now, Liquid waiting for the 99%, and they just simply give it up.
They have to.
Got no chance there, and it also means that Method wasn't even forced to use one of their items here.
Yeah, they were really hoping some items would be burned there. But Method just does not pay for it. The situation in which Team Liquid is putting in Method is where Abathur is actually thriving. These slow poke battles where Thrall is constantly zapping away. That's rather to heal that on up, and Method was content to hold it. And now their reward is a Protector, and they immediately go to the top lane, as you typically see.
Yeah, but the mid lane is now being attacked, and that's where Method was just trying to spice things up a little bit. Draw the resources of Liquid and the defense to the top, and then make the rotation with the rest of the team into the middle, and try and get some turrets down here. It's all about that fountain now, and this is an easy take here. They're going to try and get a bit more damage in against the fort itself, but Method is already in a great spot.
Yeah,
Liquid
they
at least closed some of that experience gap, though.
But they're going to be going into the next phase with potentially 5 items on your opponents. The turrets will be spawning right after we get out of this Protector.
This is really a question of how well Method now plays the macro game from here on out. If they can hold on to these items, don't have to use them, and can also collect a few more, then they're going to be in a fantastic spot. And they are already waiting up at the top to see if maybe Liquid is making another play for the biotic emitter.
Actually, I lied. They wouldn't have 5 items, they would only have 4. Abathur can't control an item.
He can.
I mean, he can, but if he tunnels in and drops a turret and then ultimate evolutions. Oh my god, he got it!
Of course.
That little slug! Wow. Okay then.
You have to spice up your Abathur game a little bit.
I do.
It's a whole new perspective for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting for the patch where Blizzard says, okay, this is his time to shine. We're bringing a balanced patch out where all of a sudden Abathur does like hundreds of damage with just a slap.
When he ultimate evolution, does he keep the turret? I don't think so. I actually have not played Abathur on this map now that I think about it, me personally.
No, you can't take it on the ultimate evolution.
Yeah.
But again, like,
I mean, use it for defense, obviously.
You missed the good part where Abathur with a slap just more or less insta-kills someone and gets them to half HP.
You know, that was
It's a high-risk, high-reward play.
That was actually a build that was discussed. A developer in the past spoke about it in AMA.
And who spoke out against it? It's fantastic. Let the Slugger see a little bit of the front line action.
They had an auto attack build, but they just couldn't find a way to balance it, where he just hit like crazy high attack speed.
Nobody said anything about it having to be balanced.
Well, 10 hits for Method, and they are full control of this game. Team Liquid's holding in there. They hit 10 themselves. They've taken some damage on the support in the top. They dodge out on a Stormbolt coming in, which means they might be able to answer back. The issue is they have to wait for Thrall to rotate. Diablo's already in position to maybe set up and engage.
Yeah, but he can't do too much here because Abathur's going to be there with the Symbiote in just a few seconds. It's really just the item game that we're having. Method is playing this smart, slow, and collected, and it's all that they have to do. As long as they don't take any unnecessary risks, they should just go from objective to objective with a much better position. Liquid is the team that is really forced to make the plays here right now. And they still can. They are behind experience, and we haven't seen an honest kill here yet, but still, the item pressure is important. And that's where Method currently excels, thanks to that double invade that we had in the early stage of the game where they took the biotic emitter and the turret away from Team Liquid.
Waiting for this control point to pop up here. Let's see how exactly Team Liquid's going to fight this. Because again, I'm just curious. How do they get back here? Is it a flank? Do you have Diablo and Thrall come in from the back?
I mean,
jump on Junkrat?
If you get the flank, you know, if you get a kill here, that would definitely work. But we discussed a bit earlier already how difficult it can be to take that front line down. And then you have Stukov also that can interrupt any kind of coordinated attack quite easily with a quick silence and lurking arm. So it's going to be rough. ADRD is already slugging onto the point here. He wants to drop that item. Like, he's a man of action, you can already tell. There we have it. ADRD slugging around. Look at him, how happy he is on that conveyor belt.
What a cheeky play.
Who says a slug is slow? Goes in.
Sport Billy goes in for his own zooming here as they go straight in for Bad Benny. Turret gets popped out. Broccoli here to help out tanking on that damage. Team Liquid, if they're going to do it, they have to do it now before 13 hits.
They're actually doing really well with claiming the point now, and they have so far not given over anything to their opponent. Lightning Breath comes out, doesn't get too much done, but at least zones Method out. They're tabbing at the fountain. That's the big advantage they hold, of course, since Liquid can't rely on their own. But this is the moment where with the pre-tap, you want to make the play.
Bad Benny comes over, gets a Stormbolt. Here comes the Riptire. Ethereal will be the focus. He pops the Earthquake to try and stay alive, trying to kite down. Gets a nice little bit of chain landing in to get that proc, but Nurok at the back line has to deal with the Urel.
Yeah, Ethereal goes straight in again. They want to go for Billy. Diablo, low, and can walk away for now. But Urel with a finishing blow takes him down. Is going to be back in just a few seconds. Lost, of course, all of his souls, but that gives Method control over the control point, and it gives them level 13.
That's right. Level 13 hits. They have a Menuet pushing in the top left 4. It looks like that might be sacrificed, especially with Abathur able to hand it up. Team Liquid, for now, is going to attempt to try and grab these Giants here. Ooh, Genji in the bottom right corner and may get a little bit aggressive here and hop on top of Abathur. Nah, he uses Swift Strike just to wave clear. He wants that 13.
This must honestly be frustrating for Liquid because they had good chances, but the early game was just such a disaster that it's really, really tricky. If they can find a few kills here, that is all going to change. And this is actually a great invade that we see down here. With Murden missing, we have Team Liquid committing to it, and Method just simply can't do anything about it because there is no level 13 talent for them. But it, of course, is still a fact that Method is very likely to get that Protector. And that's the biggest problem that we're currently seeing for them. Ethereal using the Divine Steed here to rush away, tries to slow down a rotation to the top by intercepting it at the left side, just to buy the time for the Protector to be grabbed.
Yeah, exactly. That was the best move for him right there. Making sure they couldn't rotate up to grab the Protector, and there it is, second one of the game, going over to Method. They already have the fort in the top cleaned up. They can put some damage on the fort in the middle. Main priority obviously being that bottom lane. Well in fort to break down. Team Liquid has all their heroics up, so they can force a fight if they can find somebody lingering.
Liquid is just having to play a very defensive game for a long, long time, and the 16 talent that we're going to see for Method probably a lot earlier than for Liquid will be an issue. And it all comes down to how well does Method do with the Protector now? How many structures can they take down? Because Liquid has been playing pretty well outside of those early 2 losses of items, but that's really what snowballed all of this. And Method is still holding on to a few of them. So right now, Hazorps is dishing out as much damage as he can. We have Eternal with a turret. We see Nurok with one. So they're starting to get items for the next objective already. They're very unlikely to drop them here. They would probably rather sacrifice this fort than drop them as is.
Gosh, the Protector puts out so much damage for you able to get the combo in there. Both Eternal and Arcane are had to back up. Finally, they get healed up by Nurok. But eventually, the result is the same. Fort gets cleaned up. 16 on the way for Method as they open up all of the defense here on the first layer there for Team Liquid.
They're looking for a flank, actually. They're thinking about trying to go for a flank because they realize that this might be a fight they can take. But the problem is with Sport Billy having no souls, he just doesn't have the sustain. He needs to go back, and they're attempting to get the kill with a Riptire.
Oh, Arcaner comes in though at the last second. That was full anime. Yeah. Honestly, that was.
That was a really nice shutdown.
That was sick, Arcana, honestly.
But
Someone needs to take that, put some montage music behind it, a little bit going crazy.
But now we have 16 here, and that's a 2-level lead. And they are just grabbing item after item now. Liquid holds on to 2 turrets themselves, which isn't too bad either. But it's just Method from the get-go. Simply to those 2 invades have grabbed so much map control and have also... It's not only that they grabbed the map control. What I really liked a lot about how Method played the game is that once they had it, they knew exactly to just play it slow, play it very, very, very well thought out, with every rotation mattering, invading when they could, playing to the advantages that they had, and now they again hold an emitter, they hold another turret that they just grabbed. They just play this map absolutely perfectly from this position, and for Liquid, it's just a constant attempt to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, it's worse than being on your back foot. They are hanging out the side of a mountain by their pinky toe right now, just barely staying in the game. Working on 16. May be the moment where they can go in for a fight. They do have a couple of turrets. They've been holding on. A pick would be grand for them.
Yeah, if they can get a few turrets here, that would be great, because if they can get level 16 for the next Protector to be fought over, then they actually have a bit of a shot, because they hold 2 items, as you said, the turret. They just got 1 stolen away from them, which definitely hurts. But they are now in a better spot if they grab their level 16 talent before than they were in the previous fight. So that's probably going to be the moment where they say, guys, let's make that move right now. Try and turn this around. This has been a huge problem from the first minute up to here, but this is the moment where we might be able to turn things around and get ahead.
Yeah. They're sitting here thinking, okay, if we can get Arcana 1 reset in the fight, it's our way back in. Just get Genji in there, get those Swift Strikes going.
Also with the 16, I mean, it depends on what Thrall is actually going to spec into. If you're going to see him with a Thunderstorm here, or instead he's going for the Alpha Wolf. Alpha Wolf would definitely help them with the pressure on Urel and Muradin in particular, especially after Pop's avatar. But he already, if you look at it, has taken on 16 now the imposing presence, which is of course a bit of an issue if you try to get those auto attacks in. But yeah, there it is, Alpha Wolf, trying to target the heavy hit point pools of those frontliners.
All right. We'll see if they can do that, because in 20 seconds, the control point's available on the bottom. They need to get on instantly here. They want to try and stop Method from getting level 20, or at least delaying this long enough to get 20 and then take over the control point. Yeah,
this Protector is a huge milestone for Method if they can grab it, because that would more or less bring them towards the game. There comes already the attempt to go straight for Muradin, even going immediately for the Twilight Dream. But they're already pushed back. And here comes the Lightning Breath. Riptire comes out. They're attempting to go for Eternal, but well done by Liquid. They're still alive here, and the copy is burned down.
They are still alive. Healing Pulse was also used, and the turret. They still have 5 standing strong. Actually survived that. Eternal was able to live there. He got a pretty big Wolf, Ancestral Wrath also, and a Frostwolf Poke at the same time. So barely able to go through, and then of course Malfurion to back him up. But, I don't know if we have 5 and 4 now. Can they move in?
A lot of the items have already been taken away. The problem still remains with Method having a fountain at the bot lane that they can simply tap, and that's exactly what they did. Now Diablo is in a bit of trouble, and they just simply can't retreat, tap at a fountain, and move back in. And Abathur has completely taken over the top lane now.
Taking it over, got that pushed in, working on that keep wall already. Team Liquid's going to grab a turret and allow the rest of their teammates to go ahead and tap. You see Diablo doing that now. So they'll be able to move on in. One more opportunity, it feels like.
Liquid has to go for this.
Yep.
It's 19 already. You just cannot let this one go. The turret is there. They don't even go to the top lane. They realize that they have to make the play now, and that's exactly what they're attempting to do here. Sport Billy already zoning them out here in the back lane. Biotic emitter on the ground, and the turrets are following. Slicing and dicing as Bad Benny is attempted to take down the conveyor belt, actually saving him here as Diablo gets pushed to the left.
The Ardent Defender also giving Ethereal a hefty amount of healing as well. 19.25 here for Method. Team Liquid successfully finally takes over the control point. But Method, they can just back up. They have 95% here. They can work on level 20. They're deciding to go for it, though, as Bad Benny goes in and goes straight for Sport Billy.
Yeah, but that copy is there again, and the double Muradin moves in. Diablo is down. And that could be the beginning of the end for Team Liquid here. Method, they want the second kill, and they're looking for it, but Team Liquid is doing whatever they can to push this back again. Arcana with half HP, still holding on to the spot with the rest of the team.
Diablo, also, by the way, didn't have enough souls, was at 91, so he's not going to come back here. They're putting pressure on Bad Benny. Ethereal jumps in, does a little bit of damage here. Arcana trying to escape as Nurok continues to heal him up, but Nurok, he's starting to get low on mana. Team Liquid has to think about escaping.
Exactly, and if they do, they lose the Protector. But what else can they do? Here comes the silence, and that's the kill against Thrall. 5 versus 3 at this point, and Aethero goes in deep, and Abathur should help him out any second. There it is. He just stuns out Hazu. He's down, and now they're trying to go for Norok, and they're very, very likely to get that kill secured. There it is. 4 kills down, 5 kills to 0, a 3-level lead, 20 versus 17, and a Protector on the way. Method looking fantastic here.
And during all of this, the top lane was being pushed in by the Merc Camp grab. Abathur as well can help that out. Method continues to go towards that bottom left keep, and with a 20-17 lead, their eyes will be focused on this core. 25 seconds before we have Malfurion on the field, 18 before Rainer's here.
What a fantastic game control here by Method. Start to finish, thanks to the 2 invades that they executed with Abathur and Urel, they made this happen. And now the shields are falling. Team Liquid's core is on the way down. They get the kill against Arcana. Genji is down, and this is complete control for Method. They're going to take this one. This is going to be the tie in the series.
There we go. Core eventually will fall as the Protector finishes it off, and there it is. 1-1 is the score in this best of 5 series. Method, with a strong early game, are able to keep Team Liquid on the back foot for the entire duration of the match, and eventually they earn the win.
Great play from them.
Yeah.
Very early rotation, making it happen, getting the items, and then not even using them for the first Protector. Great play by Method here. And this series so far has been what we expected, a close call between the 2 teams. We had a very good control of game 1 by Team Liquid, the exact opposite from Method as we were headed into Volskaya Fountain.
And what I love about it, too, is how different it was from our first series of days to this one right here. Both these matches have been very macro-oriented.
Yeah.
In our first series of the day between Fnatic and Monkeys, there was a lot of brawling, a lot of fight happening. These styles right now are really clashing, and it's great to watch.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm impressed by Method. Liquid, again, from their perspective, it must have been frustrating because they were so far behind from the get-go.
Yeah.
If you lose all 3 items and you're level behind as the first objective spawns, you already know you're in trouble. Your opponent is more or less guaranteed a Protector unless they really screw up, and then they still held on to the items. They got an easy second, also with a talent advantage that they were able to grab. So Method just with extremely well-coordinated play here. And Liquid was trying to catch up, and the only chance they had was the fight at the bottom of the map. But even there, they had a disadvantage in items.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a fountain on the lane. And that's really what decided it. Because once that Method was low, they're like, okay, boys, let's reset, move back, tap at the fountain, re-engage, and you put it best. Malfurion running out of mana, that's when you know, okay, this fight's over.
Yeah, it's time to roll out. Lesson to be learned for us all. Control those items in the early game. That experience and the item itself is pivotal for victory on Volskaya Foundry. We'll be right back with game number 3 after this commercial break. This is the HGC.